That's true. Forest cover is...
Can you tell that they speak about forest cover because of...
Yes, they speak about forest cover because it's the easy way of saying, well, there's something growing there, and if I take a sample of in this area, I can measure the trunks, and then I can calculate the carbon content in that so-called forest. That may very well be a plantation. But they are not going to be talking about all those other values. They're not going to be talking about the biodiversity. They're not going to be talking about the water cycling. They're not going to be talking about soil fertility. They're not going to be talking, even less, about indigenous peoples, about cultures that live in forests. There are some 3,000 different languages unique to forests areas in this world. So we should definitely make that point, that when you talk about a forest, you talk about all these things, and you are not only talking about the carbon content. And if you talk only about the carbon content, that is a great incentive for people to go out there and deforest, meaning eliminating the forests. And while you eliminate the forest, you also eliminate these indigenous cultures or people's cultures. You eliminate the biodiversity, you annihilate the systems that create soil fertility and that sustain the carbon cycle. So it's a lose-lose situation. If you promote destruction of forests, on one hand you promote the creation of monoculture plantations that have a high environmental impact, and they are very unsafe, and you create a huge organic carbon pool that can be burned into more greenhouse gases almost immediately by any accident, by what's called the positive feedbacks of the climate change on the biosphere. And that is, for instance, that the more biomass you produce in the biosphere, the more vulnerable that biomass becomes due to climate change because of droughts, for instance, in some areas of the world, and because of forest fires or plantations fires in this case. So your strategy that pretended to absorb the carbon just basically concentrated too much carbon, and it can be burned anytime and become a real problem to the biosphere, because at the same time when that plantation was growing, absorbing carbon, you already gave the credits to some company or to some electricity or oil company to pump and sell more oil that will be combusted. So you have you've doubled the potential of emitting greenhouse gases into the atmosphere.